So vulnerable populations for me means many of our students, many of those people that we care about, those communities that have been hard hit by this recession, that have high rates of unemployment. Those are the vulnerable population. And what he would like to see, and I think our vision, my vision, is to see that they have good paying jobs, that we put people back in the middle class, and not just a job, a makeshift job, or a minimum wage job, but a job of value, value that will provide respect in the workplace, but also dignity in the community, because it's a good paying job. And they got it through help that you may have offered, and with partnership, with partnering with the business community. So I would ask you all to please take note of that. In conclusion, I just want to tell you, the President asked us to think hard and to really capture what I think was lost several decades ago. And that was that moment when Kennedy was our president. And that moment was a Sputnik moment, right? When the Russians had launched their rocket and it went up in space, and here we were, one of the greatest nations on earth. Where was our Sputnik, right? And what he did, that President Kennedy, was challenge us. Well, President Barack Obama is challenging us too, but he's saying he isn't going to do it alone. He's going to bring you with him, with us, and you're going to do it with us. We're going to help put people back to work. We're going to help create, innovate. We're going to compete, and we're going to have a better climate, economic climate, and we're going to put people back to work. And I see it happening already, just by the short visits that I've taken around this country already. The idea that people can create new jobs in new industries, in renewable energy, in high-speed rail, in transportation, biofuels, biomedicine, telecommuting, all these things that are becoming advanced, so we can get around, we can give more opportunity to people. But it's about opening up those little cubicles in our head that for so long maybe have gotten cobwebs, and we got to clear it out, and we got to say no more, no more. Let's go towards the future. So thank you so much. I'm excited to be here with you, and I hope you will join us in this partnership to make sure that our community college system is the best premier post-secondary institution in the world. We educate so many people here. There's no reason why we can't meet the challenge that the President has laid out for us. Thank you so much. Can we take questions?
Thank you, Secretary Solis, for joining us this morning, and we certainly are looking forward to telling our stories, to talk about the value of community colleges in the economic recovery of our country, and also about building those partnerships that you so much talk about. We have a few moments for some questions. There are some microphones along the main aisle here, so if you'd like to have any questions, Secretary Solis, please feel free to come up and ask.
Good morning. Hector Ortiz from Harrisburg Area Community College. Secretary Solis, you had mentioned the situation that we have now. What would be your viewpoint for the next 2 years? We had seen and we had heard a lot of pessimistic approaches. What would be the positive side of this? What we can expect in the next 2 years of this administration, and what role community colleges can play in these new jobs, or the jobs that you estimate that can be created in the next 2 years? So what percentage of these new jobs community colleges can play in this role?
Thank you. Good question. Because the environment is a little dicey, so to speak, I think that what you're going to see from this administration is that we're going to work as closely as we can with our friends on the other side of the aisle. That's number one. Let's at least try to have that conversation where we can agree that our priority should be putting people back to work and finding ways of doing that. But you can't necessarily cut everything out by eliminating funding for job training programs. Because as I said earlier and outlined, many of those individuals are not adequately prepared and trained for many of the jobs that these employers would like to have. And I've heard that repeatedly from many. In fact, I had a meeting with some high-tech individuals. One individual told me, representing a Fortune 500 company, he had 2,000 job openings in engineering and couldn't find folks here. Has to go abroad. And I thought to myself, no, you don't. Why don't you partner with us, the community college? We'll build you that force of 2,000. But give us some time, work with us. And the gentleman said, makes sense. I can save money instead of having to go out there and recruit folks from another country who may not be here that long anyway. It's better to invest here. So my reasoning is, let's make sure that we put people in the pipeline now. The best way to do it is for community colleges to take advantage of the current funding that's available now. Partner also with public philanthropists, groups that are out there that can also provide support. Microsoft, Google, others are willing to help community colleges move in that direction because they know it's going to benefit their industry. So start partnering with other folks that have the same kind of vision that you have, and I'm sure you're going to find success. In places that you represent, I would say to you that community colleges, you have to think and really do, I think, a good assessment of your current region. Where are the jobs going to come from in the next 5 years? Every campus should be doing that, by the way. I'm sure you do, but I mean a real assessment. Get people to go out and do focus groups and talk to people, talk to your businesses. If you've been talking to the same businesses for 10 years, I think something's wrong with that picture. And you've got to start thinking, what kinds of new industries might be interested in locating next to you? If you were to offer them training grants and opportunities to train their workforce, believe me, there are a lot of businesses that aren't even aware that we provide this free. And once you begin to engage with them, they begin to listen, and they're saying, gee, that doesn't sound like such a bad idea. Why should I be spending $50,000 a year to train people in Texas, and I'm over here in Los Angeles, when I could go to my community college and get that training done in the evening or on the weekends or on my factory floor when I set aside time for my employees to do that. Think creatively. That's what my message is to you. And when you talk to people about your training programs, give them specifics. Let them know, especially when it comes to legislators, let them know who you've served in their district and what change has occurred there. And if it isn't happening fast enough, then maybe you need to tell them why and what resources you still need. You've got to be very honest with people. Is there any other question?
Madam Secretary? Hi.
Yes.
You know, they say if you know what you're going to say a few days ahead ago, you can say it very shortly. But I was just sitting here listening, and I'm been inspired by your remarks in the past and this morning as well. But the president has said he wanted to make change. You've talked about being creative. You know, over 100 years ago, the public school systems were created across this country because we had private schools and various choices. But the nation felt that everybody needed to have a basic education that's accessible to all. In higher education, we have many options: privates, for-profits, nonprofits, and community colleges. But there's only one national higher education system, that's the community colleges. Why don't we look at the community colleges who serve not only the traditional age, but all populations that we need as a nation, so that people, whether you're 20 or 45 or 55, need a system that can provide those basic needs? Why don't we look at the community colleges as our public national higher education system, just as we look at it as K through 12? When we're talking about Pell Grants, why should Pell Grants go to a for-profit which charges $20,000 for a program that we can offer for $3,000? Why should schools be able to have $50,000 tuition that they can use the Pell Grants and others for financial discounting so that they can charge some $50,000 and get others? The community colleges are the most affordable. Our academic quality is unchallenged. The opportunities we provide for all ages. I believe the Pell Grant money could be converted into a community college national higher education program that provides access to anybody who wants higher education, and let other people still have their choices. There's other sources of financial aid, private foundation, other state grants and stuff. But I really think if you want change, let's create a national public higher education system that's accessible to every citizen of this country, no matter what their age, that can at least get a basic requirements for the training, the skills that they need. We've said a post-secondary education, associate degree is equivalent to today's high school degree. You can get a high school degree for free through the public. Let's make that associate degree our next high school degree in terms of public access for everybody at an affordable rate. And I think this is be the greatest change and impact this administration can make. Thank you.
I don't disagree with you at all. I think I've been saying that this president has really made a commitment to community colleges, and I know that we can do better, and I know he knows we can do better. And we need your help to get there, because this isn't going to happen alone. We need to right now be ready. As I said earlier, we're tightening our belt. The public is saying that education, yes, it's very important, but it's more important that we provide assistance to get people into good jobs, right? When people are working and they have good jobs, the tax base goes up. Revenue's available for education, and a lot of people prosper. But we're not there yet when we have 14 million people that don't have jobs. So his priority is to make sure that we continue to educate people in the best way that we can, and that is by affording them the opportunity to use the Pell Grant program, to use even their UI benefits, to get training at the community college. I've never seen so much financial aid available in a time of crisis than now. And this president has made that commitment. And I know that I was very, very surprised when I came on board as a cabinet member to see how much emphasis was placed at the community college. This president gets it. He understands that's where the entry level is for many in our community, in our diverse community, in our diverse country, that is a stepping stone. And he doesn't want to stop there. That's why he's saying he wants to see 5 million people obtain more college degrees in a short period of time. And he's putting money behind that. And he's also reforming the system so that we cut out those middle folks that have been charging outrageous percentage for loans for people to get that education. And I think that has to be something that all of you understand. That's why he's made tax credits available for people to go to a community college or a four-year institution, unlike I've ever seen before. The priority is to get our folks together so that we can compete, that we can be educated, and that we put investments so that we have good faculty that also provides that necessary skill set to those that want to learn. We need to do more in the STEM area, math, engineering, and science. We are way below. I don't have to tell you how far behind we are compared to India and China, Brazil, and other places. We have to pick up the pace here. And I believe if we do our job, we can convince the public that we are worthy of their support, that we are worthy to be number one. If we produce a good product, and that product has to be a well-trained, well-educated individual. And the pointing the fingers at other institutions or secondary schools isn't gonna get it anymore, because I'm telling you, we have a big group, a big population of people that somehow maybe have been failed because they didn't go back after 20 years of working in one industry. They're trained to do one thing. Now we have to change that mold. It isn't just about us anymore, it's about all of us and making sure that we're all productive. And the community college, I agree 100%, 150%, that they are the best institution to be able to deal with all age populations, concurrent enrollment from high school to community college, and also matriculation to the four-year universities. There's no reason why they can't be that hinge that hangs in the balance of keeping it going. There's no reason why secondary children at age 16 can't co-enroll at your community college. If that isn't happening, maybe you ought to think about that, because I do think it can be a seamless process. California, we used to call it the pipeline, right? The pipeline. And that can be real for so many people. That'll help us be competitive. And yes, that's what the president wants to see. If I haven't articulated that well, I apologize. But that's exactly what the president wants. Thank you.
If you were head of a major corporation.
In respect to the secretary's time, we're going to take only one more question.
Yes.
And please put it in the form of a question, not a statement, so that she can answer your question almost immediately. Thank you.
You know, my dear friend, my question is going to be very short. Madam Secretary, I am from Luzerne County Community College in Pennsylvania, and I am an educator. From your remark, knowing Secretary Duncan, knowing the President, I know that you are very sincere for what you are saying. However, I would like to ask you this question, and you can answer it anytime, and I can give you even my email, you can email it to me. How can you ask us to do more with less resources? We are thinking, and I am proud of my colleagues here who are the trustees and the presidents. How can we do more with less resources? We are thinking out of the box. We are doing everything in our capacity. And we know that you are sincere for what you are saying. But the point is that I don't want the community college system to become a victim for a budget battle between the Republicans and Democrats. All of us are Americans, Republicans, Democrats, and independent. And I know very well that you are convinced on this. But the point is that I don't want you to give me all of but help me. How can we do more with less resources we have? Thank you.
Thank you. As I said in my statement to you, everyone is expecting us to tighten our belt. It's just like a household. When you have less money coming in, maybe someone lost their job, you start to prioritize, and you start to see what is of value. And the value, I think, for this administration is putting a priority on training and education and making sure that those individuals who are your students, your constituents, receive the very best training. That might mean reorganizing or cutting out other programs that may not reach that particular goal in a manner that you believe is where it needs to be. And those are the discussions that you're going to have with your board members and with your president, and then convey that to the public. Because the public right now, in my opinion, is not satisfied with certain things that are going on. One of which is the budget. You know, we have a deficit problem, but I think that it's very important for you as a trustee to then sell what it is that you want to see continued and to expand. Because in the president's budget, he's not saying cut back on everything. No, there are other people who may want to do that. And that's where the debate will happen. And that's where I think a lot of you as trustees will have an opportunity to talk and educate your representatives about what it is that you do best. And I know community colleges want to do everything for everyone, right? That was kind of the motto for some of us. Well, guess what, folks? You don't have enough money to do it all. I don't have enough money to give you to do it all, and neither does the federal government. So you have to become more resourceful, you have to be more targeted, and you have to be strategic. And you should be looking at other opportunities as well, working with your business, your industries out there, to make sure that you really are hitting the target, that you are getting the best educated workforce prepared so that our economy will come back. I said earlier, when you have people that have good jobs, they're going to be paying taxes into our systems of education. All of us will benefit from that. And right now, for a short time, we have not been in that position. As I said, 14 million people unemployed and perhaps more, folks that aren't even on the radar screen. And I don't need to talk in detail about that, but I need to tell you that our mission should be, one, working together, one, making sure that we invest in those programs that work, and that means evaluating the programs that don't work, and minimizing duplication. Don't compete with the college down the road if perhaps they're doing the same thing. Can't you work together, couple, and maybe expand so you reach more? And whoever has the best expertise or business community there that has a good relationship, you know, it's kind of a give and take. This is what collaboration and partnership is about. This is what has made us who we are. And sometimes I think community colleges don't always think in that manner. They look at their own boundary lines, and that's all they see fit. But for now, we don't have the means to cover everyone. So we have to ask you to collaborate, to really think out of the box, but in a way that is exciting for the students that you're going to be working with, so they'll want to come to your campus. Because when those students come, you generate FTE, right? So you have to also be better about promoting your product. Your product is your staff, your faculty, your curriculum, and what you offer for that community. That's a pretty easy thing to say, but it is a high demand, demand activity that requires a lot of thoughtfulness on the part of the board, the president, and all those on your campus. So I look forward to working with you. If I didn't answer in whole your question, we'll be happy to catch up with you later. But thank you all again for this opportunity to speak to all of you. Okay. All right.
Again. Thank you, Secretary Hilda Solis. We're very appreciative of your comments, and we look forward to continuing our partnership with you as we move forward with our challenges as well. I have two very important announcements to make. I know you all been chomping at the bit as to who this secret speaker is going to be. Well, I'm very pleased to announce that this evening at the awards banquet that we are going to have Second Lady Dr. Jill Biden come by this evening and make a few remarks. So that's just hot off the press. I hope to see you all there. The second announcement I have to make is that due to a scheduling conflict, we will not be having a second administration speaker this morning. Instead, we have moved up the schedule, and the next session will be taking place in this room very shortly. Again, I want to remind you that the NLS is for you. The workshops and the programs that we have here are for you. If you have any comments, any questions, anything you'd like to see added, we'd like you to remember to complete your evaluation form and give us your feedback so that we can make this better for you next year. Thank you for attending this morning, and the next session will begin shortly. Have a good day. Bye-bye.